So Andrew, maybe we'll start with you. What are some of the things that you wish metadata could do better, just to be transparent?
I should have thought more about this before coming.
Oh, Evan's grinning, so Evan might have a few if you need a couple of seconds to think about it.
Yeah, go ahead, Evan, if you have one ready to.
I'm always game to send these guys ideas, and I'm part of the customer advisory board and love those conversations about what can be better. Most of the feedback centers around the UI. But if I sat down with AdWords, Google
Which
AdWords UI,
we are working on, by the way.
totally, and you always will be. There's no
Mhm.
way to scientifically execute a perfect UI for such a richly featured platform. And I was going to say, Google AdWords, if I sat down with their UI team, I'd have even more complaints. And Lord knows, Google Analytics versus GA4, I'm going to have I'm just going to quit my job. Just kidding. I think knowing, it's hard when you first get in there to know how to navigate like a 1, 2, 3. And then I think even harder than that, and I know there's wizards and playbooks and stuff, that even harder than that is this idea of, okay, once you have stuff running, where do you go to operate? Even the reporting is featured that there's so many different ways you can look at it. And so I think that's just going to be a long-term journey for you guys, is as more and more people come to paid social to play, right? You'll get more and more clarity on top use cases and the playbook work you guys are doing that you're in beta with, right? Where you're starting to roll out like essentially recommended campaigns effectively for people to run. That's all going to contribute to the interface, right? Which ultimately follows what people are trying to do. It's a small knock, but I put that on a ton of different platforms.
Mm-hmm. All right, Andrew, you're not off the hook yet.
No, I did think of a couple things, and I already talked about this a bit, but having more of the native metrics from LinkedIn and Facebook, like I think because, and this is, if you're running a lot of video, you'll agree with me. If you're not running video, like this doesn't really matter because you have all the things you need for lead gen and things like that. But because we're optimizing really towards like a very specific, I'll give a specific example to help explain. For one of our ABM campaigns right now, like the total addressable market for the job titles we've selected for these accounts is like 27,000 people. And we're really trying to see like how many are we penetrating and who's actually interacting with that. I was talking a little bit about this earlier with setting these stats to our sales team. Like I have to go, I don't expect like metadata to get all the stuff that LinkedIn has. And LinkedIn really has been upping its game, I would say, a ton.
For sure.
And I was early to test like the document ads. So I was talking to like their product manager about that and talking to her. I'm like, oh, there's more people over at LinkedIn that get it, I think, than we were realizing, or they hired some people that get it, quote unquote. But anyways, I think it's hard for us to, it's much more difficult for, and this is more like a mindset shift and like how, and I would say it's similar to how you guys do marketing, Mark. Like you guys are really good at it, but like the brand stuff and like whatever you want to label it, demand create, whatever label, if this is triggering to anyone. I feel like there's so much debate about this on LinkedIn right now.
That might be a separate webinar, but keep going.
Yeah. I think it's still hard. There's things that we are doing, like we are on that. It's taken months and months to get to this point, but we are trying to use more stuff like self-reported attribution and things like that because we are investing so much in creating demand on paid social that can't be attributed because we're not asking people to fill out a form, things like that, but we want to know what's working. And we're able to invest in it pretty heavily still because I'm still hitting all of our goals in terms of MQLs and pipeline and revenue. If we weren't doing that, I probably wouldn't be able to do that. But because we know, okay, we at least know we're targeting the right people because I can see this in metadata, because I can look in the LinkedIn insights, because I can see who's like liking and commenting our ads, like they're the right titles, the right accounts. And like Evan was talking about it, like at the top of the call, like LinkedIn is the place for, we're targeting primarily to like event field marketing managers. So like, yes, like they're on LinkedIn. If you have a more technical audience, maybe not as much, but I think this is not that. So I guess this is something it's frustrating with metadata, but it's larger than metadata. I don't know any platforms that are really solving for this. Like, there's a few out there that have piqued my interest. The Dream Datas or Hockey Stacks or like things like that I'm curious about that are different than metadata and like ABM, like paid social platforms. But